By the end of this video, you'll know the detail that completely rewrites the Franklin expedition, a detail researchers tried to explain away for 170 years. It is April 22nd, 1848. You are a dying man stepping off a ship that, according to every official record, will never move again. It moves. By minute 8, I'll show you the exact forensic proof. You don't know your name matters to history. It doesn't. You are a rating, a lower deck hand whose name appears in no dispatch, no monument, no obituary. You exist in the muster roll only as a number. But what you are about to experience in the next 11 minutes is the truest account of what actually killed you. But before that, stay with me, because the thing that's already murdering you right now isn't the cold. It isn't the ice. It's something you drank this morning. It is May 1845. You are standing on the Thames at Greenhithe, watching HMS Terror take on provisions. The smell is extraordinary: tar, coal smoke, salted meat, fresh timber. 129 men, 2 ships, 3 years of supplies. The greatest Arctic expedition Britain has ever assembled. You feel invincible. Terror herself is 29 years old. You don't think much about that. What you do think about is the galley smell, roasting meat, hot bread, and the strange pride of being chosen. Franklin himself walks the deck. 60 years old, a little soft around the middle. You feel absurdly safe. Below decks, the new equipment gleams. The Admiralty has fitted both ships with a state-of-the-art desalination system, a mechanical marvel that converts seawater into clean drinking water. Brass valves, copper fittings, a long network of gleaming pipes running from the boiler room to every inhabited space aboard. The water it produces tastes slightly metallic. You assume that's normal. It is not normal. Those pipes are lead. Every cup of water you drink, every pot of tea, every ladle of soup, all of it passes through several meters of lead plumbing before it reaches your lips. You are being poisoned by your own ship's engineering, not slowly, continuously. Right now, this morning, you are drinking it. Stay with me in 2 minutes, the navigational decision that sealed every man's fate. In just a moment, the ice. But first this, because it changes everything. The same 2 ships, Terror and Erebus, made a 4-year Antarctic expedition in 1839. Same tinned food, similar conditions, only 4 men died, all in accidents, a death rate of 3%. Whatever kills 129 men here is not simply Victorian Arctic exploration. Something else is happening. You winter at Beechy Island in 1845. 3 men die, unusual but not alarming. In 1846, Franklin presses south. He reaches a fork. To the east, the coast of King William Island curves toward open water, a route later expeditions will use successfully. To the west, a channel that looks equally promising on the chart. Franklin chooses west. You watch the ice close behind you like a door. That western channel is a trap. The ice on the west side of King William Island is multi-year pack ice, ancient, compressed, immovable, fed by Arctic currents that push it south in a permanent conveyor. It almost never clears, not even in August. The eastern route clears every summer. Franklin's charts don't show this. No chart does. But the choice once made cannot be unmade. September 12, 1846. The ice locks around Terror's hull. You feel it happen, not a crash, not a dramatic groan, but a slow, implacable tightening, like a fist closing. The ship tilts 2 degrees to port and stays there. The creaking becomes the baseline sound of your existence. You will hear it for the next 19 months. Winter, then spring, then another winter. The tinned provisions are your lifeline, and you are already suspicious of them. Something in the smell of certain tins is wrong, a sweetness underneath the salt that doesn't belong there. The ship's surgeon notes elevated illness, but no one knows who supplied the tins or how they were made. Not yet. His name was Stephen Goldner. He won the contract to supply 8,000 tins of preserved meat, soup, and vegetables to the Franklin expedition by submitting the lowest bid. Just weeks before sailing, the Admiralty nearly doubled the order. Goldner had to produce thousands of additional tins in almost no time. Speed matters in canning, heat sealing matters. Goldner cut corners on both. In a moment, the proof of what Goldner's tins actually contained. But the corner cutting on food is not what's killing you fastest. Something else is, and you don't know it. Stay with me, because by minute 8, what the divers found inside the wreck rewrites every assumption you have about how this ends. Your body is betraying you in ways you can't name. Your joints ache with a deep, nauseating persistence. Your gums are tender, bluish at the margins. You forget things not dramatically, not all at once, but sentences dissolve before you finish them. In 1981, forensic scientists will test hair and bone samples from the Beachy Island graves and find lead levels 4 to 5 times higher than pre-expedition baselines. The desalination system is the primary suspect. April 1848. The ice has not moved in 19 months. Franklin is dead, pneumonia, June 1847. 23 other men are dead. The remaining 105 survivors hold a ceremony, and Commander Crozier writes the famous Victory Point note. They will abandon both ships and march south for the Back River. 105 men on foot across the Arctic. You sign nothing. Your name goes nowhere. Here is the moment you came for, and I'm going to show you exactly what it means. But first, you need to understand one thing about what the divers found, because without it, the propeller makes no sense at all. You are on the ice now. April 22nd, 1848. You are walking south. The sound of terror behind you, the groan, the creak, the hiss of the wind in her rigging fades. 100 men walking. Some are being hauled on sledges because they cannot walk themselves. The ice is bright white and it hurts your eyes. Your feet are inside 2 pairs of socks and a boot, and you cannot feel them properly. Now 1853. A Royal Navy ship in the Mediterranean opens a consignment of canned provisions from Stephen Goldner. The smell hits the sailors before the lids are fully off. The ship's commander orders 1,570 pounds of Goldner's canned meat thrown overboard, putrid, inedible, dangerous. 5 years after the Franklin expedition sailed, Goldner's production methods are officially confirmed as catastrophically inadequate. The men who ate his tins in the Arctic had no such warning. Back on the ice, the march is not going well. Men are falling. The lead poisoning has undermined your immune system, your cognition, your physical endurance. Scurvy is developing alongside it. The combination is catastrophic. Survivors later found a lifeboat on a sledge with 2 skeletons inside and 40 pounds of chocolate, curtain rods, and a copy of The Vicar of Wakefield. Weight they were dragging south across the ice. The brain, poisoned, stops making rational decisions. What happens at the end of the march is documented in Inuit oral testimony collected by researcher David Woodman over decades. Bodies, some of them cut. The bones of the last survivors bearing marks consistent with the deliberate, systematic removal of flesh, not animal activity, tool marks, sharp-edged instruments on human femurs, ribs, skulls, and then the most extraordinary piece of evidence, the mandible of Captain James Fitzjames himself. Don't look away, because what the forensic team found on Fitzjames changes the entire hierarchy of who survived the longest. James Fitzjames was the commander of HMS Erebus, the senior surviving officer after Franklin's death. He was educated, decorated, well-connected. His jawbone, recovered from Erebus Bay, bears cut marks made by a metal blade. The marks are on the interior surface of the mandible, consistent with defleshing, the removal of meat. Even the commander was eaten. Even the most senior man left alive was reduced to this. That is how bad it got. But you are not thinking about Fitzjames. You are somewhere on the western shore of King William Island, and you are making a decision. The march south is failing, you know this. Others around you are turning back north, not toward death, toward the ship. Terror is still there, frozen, provisioned, with a coal-fired steam engine and a captain's logbook still open on the chart table. Going back is insane. It is also possibly the only option. Researcher David Woodman spent years analyzing Inuit testimony, accounts collected by searchers in the 1860s describing white men alive on a ship far south of where the official record places them. He concluded, bluntly and without hesitation, unless you believe in fairies, somebody must have gone back after the 1848 abandonment and sailed Terror south. He wasn't theorizing. He was stating what the evidence required. Here is what the divers found when Parks Canada located HMS Terror in September 2016, 168 years after she was abandoned. The ship was in extraordinary condition, windows intact, cabinets closed, personal belongings still in place. She was not where the 1848 note said she was. She was 92 kilometers further south, in a bay the Inuit call Kun Niarbik. We call it Terror Bay. She was named for herself by what she left behind. Inside the wreck, the anchor was secured in a way that suggested deliberate, controlled sailing rather than a ship drifting randomly in ice. The bow is pointing south. The rigging, though deteriorated, shows evidence of having been handled. And then the propeller, still deployed, extended into operational position. That propeller was retracted during winter to prevent ice damage. It was only extended for spring or summer sailing. Someone put it there. Someone ran that engine. You have done it. You have gone back. You don't know how many of you there are, a dozen, perhaps fewer. You are dying, but you are not dead yet, and the ship still has coal, still has food, still has a compass. You fire the boiler. The propeller descends into position. The ice, slightly looser now in spring, gives way under the hull. Terra moves 92 kilometers south before the ice finally wins again, and she sinks in 24 meters of water. No official record of this journey exists. No note, no log entry. The men who sailed her south left nothing in writing because they likely died aboard or shortly after grounding. The Inuit saw them. John Ray heard about them in 1854 from Inuit witnesses who described a ship sailing south crewed by thin, sick white men. The Admiralty dismissed these accounts. Victorians did not trust Inuit testimony. They left 129 men in the ice and wrote their conclusions from a desk in London. Before the final truth, remember what you were promised at the start. A dying man steps off a ship that will never move again. It moves. Here is exactly why that matters. You stepped off HMS Terra on April 22, 1848, and the official record closed behind you. But the divers found her 92 kilometers south, propeller deployed for open water, anchor stowed for controlled sailing. You went back. You sailed her. The record was wrong. Drop one question in the comments. Do you think anyone survived long enough to reach land?